Hello, my name is Parker. I was born at home in Houston, Texas on May 18th, 1989, the sign of the Taurus. When I was 6 months old, I met Alice Cooper. I don't remember him, but my parents say he was a short, humble man. Shortly after, my parents and I moved to Austin, Texas, the city of live music. My first word was hot. I yelled it when I touched the stove for the second time. I was a late talker. I started talking when I was 4. I had a bad stuttering problem growing up. School kids would call me dumb and retarded. I grew up fighting as a kid, fighting my bullies that I had. My parents would fight time to time. They called it bumping heads. When I was 7, my dad filed for divorce. It didn't bother me that they split. I knew it was for the best. The summer of '94 was my first sexual experience that I could remember. My cousin and I would fool around during the summers and holidays when I saw him. We would stretch this sexual relationship for 10 years. I had a friend in first grade that I would make out with underneath the teacher's desk. And when the teacher caught us, we would say we were playing tea time. School was tough for me. Kids were mean. But I had my best friend, Jay. Sleepovers and secret handshakes. I moved up to Boulder, Colorado with my mom and soon-to-be stepfather when I was 8. I didn't have many friends, but I did have a few, Paul and Jordan. School was still tough. The older kids got, the worse they were. Fighting bullies was what I did. I was in 5th grade when I first thought about suicide. I tried hanging myself during recess on the playground slide. Shortly after, I tried to run away from home when I ended up with a bloody nose from a fight with my parents. By this time, I got into porn. Middle school came around, and I grew tired of the bullies. I got into fights on the playground and in class. I was a total outcast. But the teachers loved me. All the teachers found me very mature and wise for my age. I was homeschooled by my mom during 7th and 8th grade. During this time, I really found who I was. I taught myself to keep cool with the name callings and not to fight because it was for children, not adults. I was ready for high school. I had my skater friends, and no bully could touch me. They were worthless to me. Christmas Eve, I found out I was moving to Vancouver, Canada. My stepfather got a job there. I had everything there. My best friends, my bandmates. I even taught myself how to talk to people that needed help. My close friend once told me I was her guardian angel. I knew all the answers. I could put myself into anybody's shoes and understand what they were going through. My mom and I would fight, and the fighting got worse. I started cutting myself daily, looking at porn more often, attempts of suicide, the death of a best friend. Everything was falling apart. I would get kicked out several of times. My good friends Corey and Erika would keep a roof over my head during the weeks I was out of the house. I agreed to be in foster care for a few months to get my thoughts together. When school was over, I chose to move in with my father and stepmother in Recife, Brazil. With a porn out of control and thoughts about molesting children, I tried killing myself. My parents enrolled me in an American school. I was somewhat of an outcast, but this time I had a few good friends and a kick-ass band. And I was seeing a therapist for my problems. So I got my thoughts together. I really got motivated. So I moved to Center, Texas to live with my grandparents. I got a job, my GED, and some more good friends. Later, I moved to Houston to go to college and work on my music. I got a roommate, a job, and I was going to school. Everything seemed to be working out. The first month or so, I had everything under control. But it didn't last long. Things were changing day by day. I had no friends. I got back into a very heavy porn addiction. I quit my job, quit school. I tried killing myself by sniffing paint heavily for about 5 hours. I ended up in the hospital. I got on pills for my depression and moved in to my aunt and uncle. I also saw a great therapist. After a while, I stopped taking my pills. I stopped looking at porn, got a new girlfriend, and I moved in with her. Really proud of what I've done and looking forward for the future. I was looking non-stop for work, but it grew stressful for my now ex-girlfriend, and she gave up on me. I couldn't get any interviews for the 50 or more jobs I applied for. She kicked me out and I ended up in the hospital with 7 stitches to my arm. So here I am in Lima, Peru with my dad, trying to start over for the 4th time. None of my problems are solved. I still suffer from depression and still suicidal and back to looking at porn. This is my story. I have no shame of my past, and I don't regret one thing. My name is Parker, but you can call me Peter Parker. You know, like Spider-Man.